You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Oh, we're sitting here with bated breath, waiting from
Why?
the doctor.
Oh, is
Dr. Fordham.
Is he going to ring in?
He's meant to be ringing in, and he's given us the flick for the last 3 weeks.
but he only
He was in
interviews
furlough in Hawaii. Then he had a keynote address. I think he was going to give us the arse, but he says he's coming on. So he's now.
But he interviewed, as I said to you, Scott Morrison. Do you think he'd lower himself to come on the podcast?
Well, he said he would, and he's a man of his word.
Is
And
he?
so we're waiting now with bated breath. It's like the mouse.
What?
It's like the cat.
The cat.
That sat outside the mouse hole
Yes.
with cheese in the rat trap with...
Sylvester the cat, you mean? That cartoon.
I don't know what I'm
What are you talking about?
Well, there was
What are you on
Sylvester
about?
the cat.
You okay?
Is he still on Cartoon Max?
Sorry?
What do you think of
Sylvester.
this?
Sylvester the cat?
What do you think
Fucker
of...
and Thucktash, that one.
From Fuckatash. I'm saying, that's my boy. Now, Max.
a different character.
That wasn't
Oh, yeah, no,
Sylvester,
that-
was
That's
it?
yeah,
Fog
it
on.
Was it?
The
That's
fog
Fog
on
on.
leg on.
Blue.
I say, that's my boy. Now, Don.
Oh, he's
I
taking
used
bloody...
to like the Roadrunner. Is he still going?
Beep, beep.
Yeah,
Now, Don.
beep, beep.
Don.
Yeah, they're all still going, mate.
What do you think
Are
of...
they?
Yeah,
Just a little bit of humour
popular
here.
as hell.
No, my grandchildren watch
Is the
SpongeBob,
dog
Oh, there's
ringing?
other stuff out there than there was
Bingo
yonks
and
ago.
Bluey.
Where's the dog?
Yeah, I tell you...
There's the dog! Go on, Max, do it. Go on, now do it and don't fuck it up.
I've sent it to voicemail.
What?
No. Oh, shit, hang on. There we go.
Yeah.
Is he on?
Hello.
Oh, yo, beauty!
Oh, where have you been?
Doc,
Where-
it's fantastic.
Jeez.
We've had people saying, where's the doctor?
Oh.
And Don says, which doctor? I said, oh, no, please. So the
What was-
doctor from Sydney, I was up in Bribie Island listening to Queensland radio, and they're giving $5,000 away if you can pick the voice of the personalities. One was Kathy Freeman, one was some other bozo, one was someone else, and you were the fourth voice, weren't you?
Yeah, I was actually. That might have been for Nova, the Nova
It-
breakfast show from
it was.
Brisbane with the great Susie O'Neill, one of our greatest ever Olympians. So Susie's on that show at the moment. So they asked me to be a mystery voice.
Yes.
So I didn't realise that it went all the way to Bribie Island. But how are we all, boys? We good?
Well,
Oh,
we're
Doc.
terrific. What about you? What have you been doing?
I've just been working my arse off, basically. I've been working very, very hard and just trying to get through the winter kind of period. And
Hey, Doc,
Looking
I
forward
didn't
to-
realise.
Well,
I
let
didn't
him
realise-
finish,
Let him
Don.
finish.
You asked him a question.
Oh, he's just waffling
He
on.
was, well, you don't
yeah,
ask.
I was waffling. No, I was
He's
waffling.
just filling space. He's a professional. Hey, you must be big, Doc.
Pot kettle black.
Doc,
Why?
you must be big.
Jesus.
Why?
Scott Morrison, you're the only person to get an interview with him.
Yeah, he called in yesterday. It's funny the way the world works because he's obviously under some pressure at the moment over this, scandal involving the fact that he had the temerity to sign himself in as a backup minister to some of these other ministers. But I asked him to come on the radio show on Wednesday night for Thursday morning. Oh, sorry, hang on. I don't even know what day we are. Monday night for Tuesday anyway. He said no. But then I started talking about it on radio, and I think he was listening, and he realised that my opinion was kind of in line with his. I don't think it's as big a deal as a lot of people are making it out to be. So then he came on, but then while he was on there, I grilled him about every aspect of the whole thing. And, essentially I understand why you put backup plans in place. It's the same reason as to why on this podcast there is a secret document somewhere that states that if Sam was unfortunate enough to go under a bus, that Don steps in as the major host. I then move into the number 3 position. Phoebe comes into number 4. And anyone with the surname Newman then goes into number 5. So we've got those plans in place. Ivan comes in at number 6.
Oh,
No,
I'm left in the
shits.
background.
Ivan's got the shits.
I reckon Ivan's
What's
got. I tell you why
He's
Ivan's
got the shits, mate.
So
Why?
I tell you why, Doc, because we're going to interview a bloke called Craig Willis. You've heard of him? He's the classic voiceover man for the AFL and has been the voice of sport here in Melbourne, Australia. And so Ivan said to me, are we on today? This was yesterday. And I said, yes. He said, who's the guest? I said, Craig Willis. And he then texted back and he said, oh, well, everyone will recognise his voice. And I texted it back and I said, you idiot. As if, because I thought he was taking the piss. Well, he's got the shits that I called him an idiot, so he hasn't come in.
He upsets everybody. Do you think he should be? Could you help him, Doc? You psychoanalyse me. But what about Johnny? He invites these guys in, he creates them, and then he has a brew with them. What's happening with Rod Law? Is there anything happening with Rod Law at the moment, John?
Well, I noticed Rod Law's got his house up for sale.
Finally.
I wonder if he's managed to get someone else to back him at the bank for a deposit like I did for his new one.
Oh, well, let's circle back around on that, and we'll focus on Ivan at this stage. And all I'm suggesting on Ivan, is that Sam sometimes is prone to a little bit of fault where what he does is
He's
Let
prone
him
to
finish.
what? Shut up.
What he can do is Sam reads too much into things, right? I realise that. So sometimes if you don't get back to him within a certain time, or if you make one little comment, like at one stage I said, look, why don't you save the feedback on the podcast till the end of the podcast? Then for the next 6 weeks he goes on saying, no, the docs told us in Sydney, no feedback.
We
Never
did it again today.
Feedback.
We've already
Right?
said that. Don said I got to shout. Don said I got to shout out.
Sam gets a little bit carried away. So I'd anticipate that there's no issue with Ivan. Ivan has just received a text message. He's got other things going on in his life. And I would anticipate there's absolutely no issue with Ivan, because I think Ivan is one of those. He's like a boomerang, mate. You can throw him away. He's going to come back. No matter what.
Ivan has busted his chops and he hasn't turned up because he thinks I was calling him genuinely an idiot. And I'll tell you what, Doc, you said, you texted me back and you called me bro. You said, I can't come in today, bro, or something.
What's bro?
What's
short for brother.
Bro?
This
Short
new,
for brother.
New hip
Brother?
talk from the doc, trying to get woke, are you? What is bro?
It's not woke.
Well, can I just talk to the junior Newman there for a moment? Are you there, bro?
No, I'm not a Newman,
Right.
Doc.
You're not.
You're
No, I'm
not
not.
a human. Who's your father?
I don't know.
All right. Well, look. Are you comfortable with me calling you, bro?
Yeah. Yes, mate.
I mean,
yes, Cobb.
Yeah. See. I mean, what's the issue with calling someone bro?
Well,
it's
not-
an affectionate term.
He was born in the 1940s. That's
I'm
why.
a 76-year-old man. You call me bro.
Oh, well, what do you want me to call you, sir? I mean, come on.
Mister.
Bro is an affectionate term
Mate.
for someone who you regard to be your brother.
Oh, well, good on you. Well, Doc, it was just a light-hearted aside. Now,
Oh, I know. See, you get sensitive. You see, the brother relationship is closer than the mate friendship. So you can call someone mate, but when you call them bro, it just brings them in that little bit tighter.
No,
Can you
Doc-
understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, I
Doc,
can.
you should see him when someone doesn't answer a phone call.
Now, Doc,
When he calls him,
shut the fuck
he
up, mate.
loses
Now,
his shit.
bro, now listen, bro.
Yes,
Doc,
bro.
Doc, I've got two questions for you. Our mayor, Sally Capp, I want to know, is your mayor going to do this, is going to Argentina for a mayor's conference on climate change. What the mayor has to do with climate change is beyond me, and also to work out how to eradicate graffiti, because Singapore are the role models. Wouldn't you think you could get on a Zoom call and discuss climate change, about what mayors have got to do with climate change is beyond me, and ask the the mayor in Singapore, how do they combat graffiti? Why would you have to fly to Argentina?
It's a rort, it's a junket, and it's only a rort if you're not in on it. And she's in on it, so therefore you take the free ticket and you go on the holiday. I mean, I'll give you a classic example of this. We've got a bloke who until recently was our trade minister in New South Wales. He went on a trade mission to London for 6 days, and in the 6 days he forgot to drop into the London trade office. So, in 6 days, he
Brilliant.
obviously was having such a good time while he was over there.
Was he
When he
suffering?
got back, they said, so what was the new office like? And he went, I don't know. He never dropped into the office in 6 days. Look, it's only a rort if you're not in on it.
Is
Of
your
course,
mayor
if you get
going?
the opportunity. No, I don't know whether our mayor's going. I mean, again, if there's a free ticket somewhere, Clover Moore, the Sydney Lord Mayor, will be going. But I mean, this is what happens. I mean, they want to jump on an aeroplane, and when you've got all of the things that they go on about constantly about climate change and carbon footprints and fossil fuels.
Exactly.
Well, what about all of the carbon footprints that are going to be displayed during the trip on the other side of the world to talk about graffiti and climate change?
Fantastic, Doc. You're right on the money. Now,
Doc, you're across and you bring up a lot of social issues on your show. Now, you've evaded. I've tried to lead you in the past weeks, and you've evaded.
Don, let me explain to you. I know what you're going to be talking about, the youth crime issue in Burke. The reason I've evaded the issue...
Warriner, Walgett,
well.
and Will Kenya.
Yeah, and Will Kenya. The reason I was seemingly avoiding the issue, Don, is because your memory isn't that flash, and we've discussed it on the podcast before. So for the benefit of people whose memory is stronger than yours, I didn't want to put them through the same conversation again because you failed to remember that we did discuss this previously during another one of your trips when you drove through that part of the world.
Oh.
And I would have told you a story about some youths in Burke who pinched an ambulance at one stage. And
You
the
did.
coppers had to chase them in the ambulance.
I remember that, Doc.
They drove
see,
to
all of a
Barora,
sudden,
pinched
It's coming back to you see?
No, it just didn't come back. I knew that you'd discussed it. Don brings things up time and time again, and I said, we discussed that 3 weeks ago. He said, oh, did we?
Oh, no, it's a little bit sensitive and nothing's being
but
done.
look, I'm with you, mate. It's a major problem. We've got problems with crime in Sydney at the moment with gangs. Like, we had these two girls just a few days ago.
That's extraordinary, that was
Did
up
you see what happened?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is suburban Sydney. Two girls.
It's amazing.
One of them was an ex-bikie girlfriend, so she was the target. But the other girl, all she'd done was go to this other girl's house to style her hair for a night out. She's a young hairdresser. And, mate, do you know what the gunman did, or the gunman?
12
they
shots.
tapped on the window. They tapped on the window with the gun, they reckon 4 times, because they've got a recording from a CCTV nearby. And they reckon the gunman tapped on the window with his gun 4 times to show the gun to the girl in the back of the car, and then leaned in past 2 young people in the front of the car and politely said, get out of the way, and then unloaded the weapon on both of them in the back, presumably because he wasn't sure which one was the target and which one wasn't, so he shot both of them dead. Holy hell, I mean, that's happening in the suburbs. You can only imagine when you've got problems in the bush, and obviously they're not gang-related so much in the bush, but you've got such a police focus in the city that in some of the areas that Don's spoken about, yeah, mate, it's almost like a forget-about-it scenario. People just run rampant. There's not much the police do about it.
Now, Doc, that happened while I was away up in Queensland. We couldn't believe it. It was extraordinary. And now, I want to ask you this, Doc, please. The congenitally stupid and genuinely dumb people who are trying now to get us, not only in America, but I've got a feeling it's going to sweep here, to eat insects and bugs and cicadas and spiders instead of proper food because they say, wait for this, you'll love this, because they say it will severely reduce carbon emissions by eating insects. And they said a lot of third world countries, their whole diet is insects. That wouldn't be surprising, seeing as they can't afford to buy proper food. They just eat anything that's crawling around. And do you know, Doc, that 85% of the bugs and insects you eat carry parasites. Would you agree that would you advocate to eat bugs and insects here in our city, our country? Yes.
There are some occasions. Where I feel a desire to bring you back from the edge.
Thank you.
Where I feel like you're walking towards the edge and you're stressing yourself unnecessarily. This is one of these moments where I'm just going to walk you back from the edge and just say to you, Sam, I promise you, no one is going to make you eat bugs. No one will make you eat bugs. I know that there are some loopy greenies out there who go on with this stuff. They're the same people who smear themselves in fake blood and go into the middle of steak restaurants or KFC.
Yeah. Menstrual blood.
Feeling and going on like complete weirdos. No one's going to make you eat a bug. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, there's a push.
No one will make you eat a bug.
There's a push. to
you
do
don't
it.
have to listen to the push. You just ignore the push.
Well,
you know, I mean,
well,
Don, you're not going to start. I've seen the meal that you produced for Shane Crawford recently when you caught up north. I mean, you wouldn't be serving up moths and caterpillars to Crawford. You're a meat man.
he's eating grass clippings. He goes round and takes grass clippings
we
off
had
people's lawns.
All colours of vegetables on that
You're eating
on that plate.
Banksia nuts, Don. You're eating.
Talking about Shane Crawford, I don't know if you blokes have tried to ring him. Does he ever return a call?
Only if he wants something.
Oh, so he would have returned the call for that Pharaoh rehearsal. What was it? What's that called? That show that he's now starring
I don't know. Someone told me this yesterday.
He's the Pharaoh in...
Yeah. I don't know what the
show?
show's called.
Yeah, he's doing a
musical.
stage show of some sort. He's a very, very talented bloke. I think Shane Crawford, when you think about it, I know you boys have mentioned before all of the charity work he's done, but you think about it, mate. He can host TV shows. He can host radio.
Right.
He can do podcasts. He's a front guy for many brands on TV ads. He's funny. He's versatile.
And
he's soft. He's caring. He's fantastic.
And I think
he
legally...
you up as well on that... what was that show that both of you did? I thought he shone there and helped you out a lot.
Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, Ninja Warrior.
And I think, Doc,
really
I think legally he's a dwarf. He's a dwarf legally. If you're under 5 foot, if you're 4'11", you are clinically.
He's bigger than what you think.
Is he bigger than 4'11"?
No, I saw him at Gatton. Shane, if you listen to this podcast, please return calls.
I think he's a dwarf. I think he's legally a dwarf.
Now listen, what's our sports expert got on his agenda for the sports discussion today?
Well, we've
been and done that.
We did that, Doc. We were trying to clear the slate for you to come in with something.
Yeah, gotcha.
Have you got anything you could give us? Seeing
No,
as us
I was just
prompting you with questions.
No, I was just checking. Can I ask? Let me ask him, who's going to win the AFL Premiership?
Oh, probably Melbourne.
Oh.
Geelong always don't bring their A game in finals. That's been known for decades.
Oh, and Melbourne do.
Yeah. Well, they won it last year. You have to think that.
First time in 64 years.
Yeah, we'd have to think the reigning premiers will.
What's that, Don?
Geelong haven't delivered for a while.
Oh, well, they've delivered a lot. Anyhow, Doc, who do you think will win the NRL?
NRL.
Well, the NRL. Look, I'm tipping a surprise packet. And that is the Canberra Raiders, coached by Ricky Stewart, who at the moment are not even in the top 8. So I need to stress, this is an outsider. They're outside the top 8. But he was suspended for a week, and you don't often hear this, a coach being suspended, but he was suspended for calling a player a weak-gutted dog during a press conference because there was some history involving Ricky Stewart and this certain player. So Ricky spent a week not allowed to go to the club, not allowed to go to training, not allowed to go to the game, had to sit at home on the couch and watch it. But the Raiders came out and won anyway. And so, look, I do declare an interest in that he's a mate of mine, so I'm hoping that Ricky's going to get up and win the premiership for the Canberra Raiders.
We got a snippet of that down in Melbourne. What intrigued me, and you could answer it, was he talking about one of his own players or the opposition player, and what is the history?
Yeah, no, he was talking about an opposition player who had said certain things many years ago about one of Ricky Stewart's children. So that's why it was close to home. It was incredibly close to home because there was an incident that occurred many years ago involving this opposition player and one of Ricky's own kids. And so all of a sudden, the opposition player kicked one of Ricky's players in the nuts. And so Ricky was, just speaking from the heart and called him a weak, gutted dog. Right, and that led to him being suspended and copping a big fine.
Now, Doc,
hang on, don't cut him off. Yeah, okay. So, what was the incident with regard to the child?
Oh, mate, Ricky hasn't revealed that, so I think it was the right time to cut me off.
Now, Don, is it okay?
Don't cut him off.
Now, Don. Okay.
Shut up, Don.
And now, Doc, while I was also up in Queensland, the very distressing case of a ex-coach called, is it Mr. Green? No.
Paul Green.
Paul Green.
Now, that seemed extraordinary. A 42 or 49-year-old man took his own life. Was this because? Did we know why? I couldn't work out. Was it because he failed at being a coaching, or had he had?
No. I mean, you know, he'd had a bit of a setback because he was the Queensland State of Origin coach in years gone by, and he lost that role. But he'd just been offered a new job with a brand new rugby league club that's starting next year, coached by Wayne Bennett, which is in Queensland.
Oh, the Dolphins.
So he had an assistant, the Dolphins. So he had an assistant role coming up there. Two beautiful little children. One of his children had just celebrated a birthday party that he'd been at in the last week. Has his 50th birthday coming up. Gorgeous wife. I mean, we never know what's going on.
Well, what is going?
What
that is extraordinary.
We don't know.
We don't know why he did that. He was financial. Was it financially? Was it because he got sacked?
Don't know. But I'll tell you this, Sam. I'll tell you this. I've had a number of friends of mine in the last couple of years. I reckon 3 of them who, in moments of brutal honesty, have told me that they've contemplated killing themselves.
Really?
And it's quite a surreal moment where you're sitting there with a mate and you get it out of them, because I kind of sense that there's a real trouble going on there. And the best response that I've been able to give the ones who've got children is that you do realise if you kill yourself, your kids are more likely to kill themselves.
Yes.
And when you say that to them, they go, "What do you mean?" You go, "Well, think about it.
Collateral damage."
It could, because of the collateral damage it does. So while you might not value your own life all that much at the moment, I know how much you love your daughter. I know how much you love your son. And just think about the path that you're putting them on then for life, when they are now more likely to kill themselves because their dad killed himself. And I've had a little bit of luck with getting that message across. But, you know, the other thing they say these days, and this is a challenge for all blokes out there, when I've got a mate who's in trouble, I'm hell-bent on fixing it. I go in and I go, "Now listen, mate, it's clear what's going on here. This is the issue. That's the issue. Here's how we're going to fix it. You stand back, let me get involved, and I'll get it sorted for you." They say that is the worst possible thing to do. That people don't want a fixer. They want someone who is just going to listen. And the best you can do is sit there, stand there, walk there, talk there, listen to them again and listen to them again, because they don't want to be talked at. They don't want someone coming up with all the things they should do. They just want someone to listen to them. And I must admit, I don't find that as easy to do as I do talking and coming up with ways of fixing problems.
You are a typical, and all men suffer from what you suffer from. We're not immune, but that is a man's way of looking at a crisis, is we want answers to that. That's the way we think. But I think in times of trouble, when you are really troubled, if you have a female friend that you can talk to, ladies are better at listening than what men are. So if you've got a problem, I would recommend talking to a friend who is a female.
Or you could find God.
You are.
No, he's right. You could find a lot of things.
That's a fair point. You could
easy
mate.
on Don.
Hang on a moment.
You wouldn't put your faith in something that you might find above
you
your...
want to talk to somebody, and a female is...
Doc, very sage advice. Don, very sage advice. Could I finish
and
on
look, if there's a female, Don, if there's a female you want to talk to, it could be the Virgin Mary. You could still talk to her. You know what I mean? There are... You know, you can talk to God, you can talk to Jesus, you can talk to Mary, you can talk to any of the disciples or the apostles.
We've got 2 clowns on this.
I've heard Don talk to women before. I got a feeling they wouldn't listen to one thing he says. Now, Doc, I just want that we're just finished on a lighter note than this. If I sent you up a package of maggots, would you fry them? Would you fry them up and they're full of protein, and just reconsider that statement about you'll never have to eat bugs and insects and spiders and rats, or not rats, insects, even though the third world countries are just devouring them by the billion. You don't block that out of your mind. The wife and the
if you want to,
the nippers.
But, you know, I've eaten a guinea pig before.
Or what?
Well, that's not an insect. That's not an insect.
What are you doing?
I've eaten elephant tongue.
What?
I've eaten snake.
What?
Oh,
yeah, snake.
But they're not insects. Have you eaten bull's testicles?
No, but what I'm trying to... No, I refuse to eat balls.
What about
What on animals or? All right. Well, Doc,
I've always taken the view. No, when it comes to putting testicles in my mouth, it's not something that I'm. It's just not my go.
Good
I
at.
respect the wishes of anyone else who wants to do that
Could
kind
I-
of thing, but it's
could
not
I-
my go.
Could
Not
I give
since
you
university.
Could I give you a conundrum, Doc? If
Yes,
you
sir.
got walls, if you've got nuts on your chest, what do you got?
What?
A condition.
Well, chestnuts. If you got nuts on your wall, what do you got?
Walnut.
And if you got nuts on your chin, what do you got?
Chin nut.
A mouthful of cock. Sorry, Doc, to finish on a much lighter note. Now, Doc,
Oh, yes. No, I
Well,
get
I
it.
tell
Yeah. You mean as in the bird, the cock, the bird.
of
I've got it.
course,
No,
the
now I
cockerel,
get it.
the
Now I get it.
cockerel.
The cockerel, I get it. Now listen, did we round off what happened with Rod Law? Has that gone to
No,
mediation?
well,
or?
we want to know. We
No.
really want an update. Can you? This is like
I'll
two
ring him.
lovers.
The doc,
I'll ring him.
I wouldn't
What?
know. The man who used to be
Now,
on
what I
this.
might be able to do,
Yes.
I'll get onto him and I'll see whether he wants to appear on next week's podcast. But the way they might need to do it, they might need to do it like they do in those prisons where you have like the glass separating the two and they talk on the phone.
Isn't it amazing how people's statements, who are far more erudite and educated than me, remind you of people? William Allen White, who is a literist, he said this, and I've always remembered this, and doesn't this remind you of people? He said this: with pig's eyes that never look up, a pig's snout that knows only muck, a pig's brain that only knows the sty, and a pig's squeal that only cries when it's hurt, they sometimes opens their pig's mouth, turked and ugly, and let out the voice of God railing at the whitewash that covers the manure about their habitat. Doesn't that remind you of people every now and again?
You.
Hallelujah!
That's it, Doc. Thanks.
Love your work, boys.
Good
See ya,
boy.
Doc.
Turn
Talk
it-
to you soon. Bye.
Right. So
Yeah.
now we're finishing, Don. Is that it?
No, go on. Tell your story.
No, about. Oh,
Yeah.
Did you
Well,
think,
what happened to Bribby?
what?
Bribey.
Bribey? No,
Yeah.
I've done the Bribey. I just thought you might find this. Do you find this humorous, Don? This bloke walked into. Just tell me if you find this humorous. I did. This bloke walked into the a urinal, and he was standing next to a man.
Don't use it at Colac because they will have heard it.
What?
He's doing a big show at Colac on the weekend.
Have you
He's
ever,
got numerous
have you ever known, Max?
Has he got a lot of stuff, has he?
Have
He
you
does.
ever known, Max, a person that can jump in and cruel a story before it even gets underway than that clown there? You look like a clown. You are a clown. You are a dullard. And if you don't know what a dullard is, you are a dullard for not knowing what a dullard is. This man walked into the urinal.
Hey, man.
No, this man.
No, this is there he
Yeah,
is.
this man.
This man. Oh, this man, yes.
A man walked into a
Thank you.
urinal and he noticed a person come in and stand next to him who had his no arms. And he thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to do my civic duty here. And he turned to him and said, look, would you like a hand at having a piss? And the bloke said, that'd be very good of you. So he thought, oh, shit, I'll fall, I'll do this for civic duty. So he unzipped his fly and he pulled his dick out. And he noticed while he was
He was looking, was he?
Well, he had to look to see where.
Well,
to get
I mean,
his-
he could stand
Don,
up above it.
fuck
You just.
me. Don, he pulled his dick out, right? And he pointed at the urinal and he noticed that the man's dick was absolutely putrid. It was dirty. It had disease. It was disease-ridden. It had scaly bits on it. It had warts. And it had started to emit a sort of solution and was dripping. And so when it was finished, he put it back in and he said, mate, he said, what's wrong with your cock? And the bloke suddenly ripped his arms out of his shirt and he said, had two arms, and he said, I'm fucked if I know, but I'm not going to touch it. Don't you think that's funny?